Hello and welcome back to the Outdoor Station, and we're having a look at the 2012 British-made, designed and produced Honey Stove and Hive Stove. Made completely in the UK from 0.7mm stainless steel. And this is the Honey Stove, how it arrives, nice thin package, plenty of space in there to store the item, plus your fire materials. Now, with fuel costs ever increasing just in the outdoor industry as much as on the road, people are starting to consider or look at other ways of still getting out and enjoying their outdoors activity without spending a fortune on fuel. Organic matter is, of course, the cheapest, lightest and easiest fuel. That is dead trees and twigs and whatever that you pick up as you go wandering and doing your walk, or methylated spirits. But this particular stove is designed to work with organic matter. It works with a whole variety of meths burners and also the well-known Trangia stove being one of them, and the Trangia adapters. So you could have a multi-fuel stove, a multi-fuel burner system, a petrol system or a white gas system, and that will also work with this and give you every flexibility you could possibly want. Now, the entire stove in its package is still less than the weight of a small gas cylinder at 342 grams. So let's have a look at it in detail. Well, inside your pack you have an instruction manual here which shows you how to put it all together, gives you the idea of the component parts, and there's also a little bit of a cookery book in there as well at the end, which might be of interest to people wanting to increase their outdoor cooking experience. This is the contents of the bag, so let's just go through this. You get a lot of stove for your money with the Honey Stove. You actually get 2 stoves for the price of 1. The stove is a hexagonal configuration, but it also fits together as a square configuration, both of which will give you obviously different options. So as the instructions say, you don't need to use all the parts all of the time. We have a base plate, square base plate. We have a Trangia plate there. We have the front door, and then we have the 5 sides there, a base plate and a top grill. Now this top grill, let's work at the top and work downwards, is 1.5mm stainless steel, food grade. So you can actually place food directly on this and cook directly on the grill, which will appeal to those bushcrafters or people who wish to cook over a barbecue and have the barbecue experience. The reason the grill is square and not hexagonal to drop into the unit is that it actually provides, there you go, if I put that there you can see, it actually provides a larger surface area to allow for keeping food warm or working with a variety of pots. So you might have one mug on here and another cooking pot or whatever on the other side. It allows you a little bit more flexibility than some of the previous designs. So let's pop it all together. Well, first of all, let's start with the square configuration and show you some of the options. Now, the square configuration can take 2 guises, and we'll do the first one like so. We take the square plate. There is a top and a bottom to the square plate, a front and back rather, and at the top of the picture is the front, the bottom of the picture is the back. And that's important because that allows the door to go on in whatever format you want it to go on. Now you can place the grill base anywhere you like in the unit, slightly higher up if you're using Esbit tablets, perhaps hexamine tablets, lower down if you're using organic matter. There is no set rules. It's purely down to you. So that's the square configuration with the front door. For some reason, I can't think of one, but there might be one, you might want to have the fire completely contained. And once again, the front door can be completely sealed like that, so you can, using 4 sides, it will slot together and give you a completely contained fire. If you are wanting to use, for example, a meths burner, and it has been designed to work specifically with the good old-fashioned bomb-proof Trangia, the Trangia will slot inside these slots and the door slides on here. And then once again, you have a nice solid stove there where you can use your Trangia. Now, many people ask how you actually light a Trangia when it's in that position. It's fairly straightforward. You take your flint and steel, you pop your flint down through the hole there in the center, your steel on the side, rub the two together, and a shard of sparks will light the meths. And the tip with meths is to get the meths up to body temperature before you try and light it. And if the stove is cold, the same with the stove as well. So pop the stove in your pocket for a few minutes, and in your other pocket pop your bottle of meths, or denatured alcohol, I think as the Americans like to call it, and you will find it very, very easy to light, and probably light the first or second flick, which is very useful. The base plate has a variety of uses. Obviously, the holes there have been designed to make sure that you can get the most out of burning a Esbit or hexamine tablet. This is a hexamine tablet. They're quite big. The Esbit tablets are smaller. So the airflow has been designed to ensure maximum combustibility without it burning too fast or being too slow. The other thing about some of these holes on here is that the well-known Vargo Trangia Stove will also drop into place through 3 of these holes, like so, and the legs clip round the bottom, and that will allow you a nice stable platform there to place that inside the stove setup and not have to worry about using these legs, which are fine on larger circular pots but don't work too well on smaller ones, and they certainly don't work well on something like the Crusader mug, which is a sort of kidney-shaped pot. So as you can see, just purely alone in the square configuration, this item is quite flexible, and it may be that's all you ever need. You might just need the 4 sides there and a Trangia, and you're happy with that. And if so, then the weight would be only 171 grams. Now, the Evernew has proved to be a very popular stove, the Evernew titanium stove. And once again, in the square configuration, this will slot nicely there into onto the base plate, and the doors can sit on there. And once again, you have a very stable and strong stove. And of course, the height is adjustable. You can go up and down any of these heights to suit the burning height for the burner that you might be using. So, as I say, a very, very flexible start with just 4 pieces, or 5 pieces if you use the base plate. Now, let's pop together the whole lot in its hexagonal format. You start with the prongs downwards in the centre back. Your base plate does have a front and a back. The front is the one with no tab on it. There you go, at the very top of the picture there. So that is the front. So we pop those 3 sides in like so, and then just drop on these 2 outer ones. Just clip into place like so, and like so, and then holding the whole item on the ground, we just slide in the door panel, and it becomes a very, very strong, very, very strong, very, very stable cooking unit. So, looking at it from an organic matter point of view, you'd obviously put your fuel in the bottom of there and light your fire accordingly. When you're ready, you can place the grill on top, and you have plenty of space there to work with different pots, pans, or cook directly on top of there. If your pot is over 12 centimeters diameter, it will sit on the rim of the honey stove, or slightly wider obviously. If it's smaller than the 12 centimeters diameter, like so, you want to obviously support it inside the stove, and this is where something as simple as a couple of 3mm pegs come in, and that's why these holes have been put down the side of here. You can either put a larger peg if you want to through the bigger holes, or you can slot the pegs through smaller holes like so, and that allows the maximum amount of heat to escape from the cooking unit. And obviously your pot is then supported quite nicely there and that's not going to go anywhere. You can use more pegs should you wish to do so, but generally 2 are fine. So that works well. Right, now you might find, you can see the base grill at the moment is in the bottom slot. Everybody has different heights to suit their needs. If you come up to the next slot, it allows a little bit more airflow through the base and things burn very, very well. I tend to use it in the bottom 2 slots generally. If you wish to use this with the Trangia burner, so you have a Trangia plate here. The Trangia plate will take the Trangia burner like so. We'll also take the Evernew burner. Evernew burner isn't such a tight fit, but it's not going to go anywhere, so you can actually use the Evernew burner. Or if you wanted to use it, we have, of course, the Optimus Trangia adapter, and you can use it with Optimus and any other fuel like white gas and so on, however way you use your Optimus. So you can always have a wood burner, you can have meths, you can have Optimus, you can have so much flexibility, it just keeps going on. So let's just have a look at the dropping the Trangia plate into the unit. And quite simply that's done by just dropping the door off. If we want to pop the Trangia plate in the middle setting, we just pop that down there, slide that into place like so, put the door back on like so, and now the Trangia can just drop into place there. Now, because it's made from stainless steel, it's got extremely reflective heat properties. So a lot of people have found that by having the plate perhaps not in the midsection, but in the next one or right at the very bottom, so the base of the plate is actually the base of the stove is touching the base plate, it builds up more heat within the reflected area and obviously increases the cooking time. And naturally, if a pot is on top there's a lot of heat coming up the side, but if the pot is down inside there's a lot of heat being reflected in the side, and it makes it considerably efficient. One of the most popular meths burning stoves or denatured alcohol stoves is of course the white box stove made in America, made from aluminium. Absolutely superb stove, gives out an enormous amount of heat. The pot rests right on top of the stove, but the spread of the flames can be quite wide. And particularly even when you've got a wider pan on it like so, a lot of heat can be lost around the outside, but also the stability of the stove due to its narrow nature, as you can see, diameter for diameter, can be a little bit unstable. However, we can resolve that by using it in conjunction with the honey stove. So once again, there's the stove. I've dropped the Trangia plate down to the bottom slot above the base there, and by popping the honey stove in there, you'll see that the honey stove actually can't move anywhere, it can't go anywhere, and it stays trapped within that circle. So consequently, you can light the white box, get the good buildup of heat. The side of the stove will reflect an enormous amount of heat, and then your smaller pot can sit directly on top of the stove should you wish it to do so, like so, and it will achieve a maximum amount of heat and speed up the burn times. So that's there with the white box. Now let's have a look at it in conjunction with the Optimus multi-fuel adapter. Now the Optimus Nova is obviously an extremely powerful burner, and dropping it inside the honey stove, once again it uses the benefits of the material stainless steel to reflect as much heat as possible onto your pots, as well as act as a windshield and pot support. And there it is. It's a thing of beauty. You'll notice that the door is the other way up to normal. There is no correct way up for the door. My preference is for that part to be at the bottom, but with using a Trangia adapter with a Optimus burner, or perhaps even a Trangia gas adapter, you'll find that you'll have to swivel things around and swap things over to allow for the control or the pipe to come out through the door accordingly. But as you can see, that makes that a very, very strong and stable unit, and you certainly would get an awful lot of heat kicking out of there by using the adapter. So that pretty well shows most of the features, I think, of the Honey Stove. Let's move on now to the expansion pack, the Hive Stove, and see it as it changes. This is the packet that the Hive Stove comes in, which is obviously proportionately larger than the Honey Stove. So let's have a look at what's inside. Inside, once again, we have the cookbook and the instruction manual, which is useful if you've bought a pre-2012 version. 2 side plates, a much larger base plate, and of course, proportionately a large grill. And that's a 7-inch square grill, which in good modern money is 180 millimeters. The Honey Stove grill is 6x6, which is that size there, and that is 153 millimeters square, which obviously allows you a lot more food. You can get more food cooking. So let's just pop this together and we'll see how the whole thing looks. And there it is, proportionally much bigger. Now this expands the internal width from 12 to 18 centimeters across the actual stove vertical wall area. And of course the grill, when that sits on top like so, allows you plenty of space there for additional pots or more food. I mean, you can get 2 or 3 burgers and some bacon on there and a few sausages. I find that that is a pretty good cooking space. Now, the first time you put these stoves together, they will be very snug and tight. That's because they have been obviously straight from the laser cutters and the edges of the material are slightly rough. But after the first couple of assemblies, you'll find they slot together quite easily. So it's a firm but positive method of putting them together. So there you have it. Not much we can say about that one really, apart from obviously the base unit does go up and down. And I tend to find that if I'm burning organic matter or barbecue fuel, the bottom 2 sections work really well for me. Again, if you have some longer pegs or even these standard short ones, if you wish to support your pot within the wall area, then the pegs can go diagonally through some of these holes and allow you that flexibility. He says, there you go, like so, or through the larger holes, of course. Whatever's easiest for you, which way you want to go, and that will allow a smaller pot to be supported on those pegs there, and obviously another peg across here would make the difference as well. So that is the Hive Stove, and there you have it. Really, the total expandability and flexibility of the Honey Stove and the Hive Stove. With the Honey, don't forget, once again, you have a square configuration and a hexagonal configuration, and once you have the expansion pack for the Hive, that takes it up to an octagonal configuration. Both products are available in stainless steel, 0.7mm stainless steel and 0.5mm grade 2 titanium, and the details are on the screen now, comparing weights and the differences, etc. So let's take it outside now and do the old thing and set fire to it.